Green Bay Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst has many important decisions to make this offseason, but two very important decisions that are upcoming that Brian Gutekunst needs to decide on is whether or not he will accept the fifth-year option for Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt. Both first-round picks in the 2022 draft, so Brian Gutekunst has until May 1st to either accept or decline their fifth-year option for the 2026 season. Every first-round pick has the traditional 4-year rookie contract, but also a fifth-year option added on to the end, and the amount is based on play time and Pro Bowls. If you remember back a couple of years, it was if the Packers were going to accept Jordan Love's fifth-year option. They ended up not doing that and extended him to a 1-year extension before this massive deal this last offseason. But nonetheless, how Brian Gutekunst handles this, either accepting the fifth-year option or declining it and giving a 1-year extension to both players, are two very important decisions for two starters on this defense. So in this video, we're going to go over two players, break it down, what it would cost on fifth-year options, and what will be the likely outcome for both players. Quickly, before we dive into the details, wanted to give a big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring this video. Guys, go use code BASS, B-A-S. The link is down in the description when signing up for Sleeper, and you'll get $55 in free plays by simply making one $5 play. It's an awesome promotion going on. I'm not sure how long it's going to be out for, so I'd really suggest getting in on it when you can. Also, new users signing up for Sleeper will have a free pick for this upcoming slate of games this weekend, more than a half a passing yard for Patrick Mahomes. So you can go make your $5 play and include Patrick Mahomes and some other picks, more or less, and then get $55 in free play. Another pick I really like from that game is more than 55.5 rushing yards for James Cook, the running back of the Bills. He hit this in 2 straight games. He's been really hot since the playoffs started. And you can combine a bunch of different picks together from both games to make your selection of picks and hopefully win. So again, guys, go download Sleeper. Supporting the sponsor is, of course, supporting the channel, so thank you guys so much. And use code BASS at sign up. Make a $5 play, get $55 instantly in free plays. All right, so now back into the video. First, I wanted to go over the monetary amount for both fifth-year options. So in the past, we've seen the Packers accept and decline fifth-year options when it makes sense. For example, they accepted Jaire Alexander's fifth-year option because he was a top corner at the time, and it made sense for that cap number. They declined Eric Stokes' fifth-year option because of the complete opposite reasons, right? They declined Jordan Love's because they believed they could get him on a 1-year deal to really assess the situation and then give him that big extension if he played really well in 2023, which he did. But Devontae Wyatt and Quay Walker are kind of in that middle area. They're not okay, this is a Jaire Alexander situation. You 100% accept the fifth-year option, but they're not an Eric Stokes situation either. So it's kind of that middle ground that Gutekunst has to decide on, and that's why both of these decisions are very, very important for this defense. So bringing up the screen, you can see the table here. The green number is basically where they fall in these fifth-year option monetary amount. So you have basic, which is if they get under a certain play time, that's the basic. Playtime is if they hit over this threshold, they get a little bit of a boost in money. And then if they're one Pro Bowl and a greater than one Pro Bowl player, they get even more money. I honestly think this should be based on all pro. Pro Bowl is pretty much a popularity contest, so it's pretty crazy that this constitutes, getting more money from your fifth-year option. I think it should be all pros. But let's resort that and then go down to the Packers at number 22 and also number 28, because of course we had 2 first-round picks in this 2022 draft, the first of which at pick 22 was Quay Walker. Now, he has gone over the playtime threshold, so instead of a $14.7 million 1-year deal, it jumped up to just over $16 million. Now, these are 1-year deals, and they're fully guaranteed, so this is exactly what the cap hit would be in 2026, just over $16 million. And that's a lot of money, for sure. So Quay Walker's is kind of, I think it's going to be a decline, the fifth-year option. Maybe get him on an extension, a 1-year extension or a multi-year extension. It definitely depends how 2025 goes. But Devontae Wyatt is one that I feel like they could accept. I think they're very high on Devontae Wyatt. I think he could become our best defensive lineman. And at $13 million in 2026, of course, it depends how 2025 goes, but you have to accept this before May 1st this season. So you're kind of just betting on the player. Isn't that bad? Just over 13 million, almost 13,100,000 there. And again, that would be the cap hit in 2026. And if you go and look at average per year of interior defensive linemen around the NFL, and of course, a lot of these are multi-year extensions, but that would fall under players like Dalvin Tomlinson, Cameron Hayward, Zach Allen, Grady Jarrett. and put him right around David Onyemata, Sheldon Rankins, Grover Stewart, which I think is right around where Devonte Wyatt could become. We're super fired about both of those guys' seasons this year, Gutekunst said during a season-ending press conference. Both of them dealt with some injuries and was really proud of how they attacked those and played through some things this year, but I think both of those guys had their best years as pros so far. I think he was progressing at that point also and playing some good football right around the time he got hurt, said linebackers coach Anthony Campanile on Quay Walker. I thought it was a steady progression for him. He made a jump, I would say, at that point in the year. I think he was just starting to see it really well. In the room, I think he's done everything he can do. He's all over it, answering questions, totally immersed, and locked into the game plan. That's something that kind of speaks to the character of the guy, too. Even the games he hasn't played in, he's in the room, answering questions, calling it out, playing the plays through on the screen, just like he's out there as he normally would be. So it seems like Quay Walker definitely stepped up into that leader role, the mic on the defense with the green dot on his helmet to go and set the defense up, go and call the plays that's radioed in from Jeff Hafley. So that was definitely a big jump in Quay Walker for 2024. Not only, production, which he did see more production in my opinion. I know the verdict's still kind of out for Packers fans. Either you love Quay Walker or you absolutely hate him. I think he's going to be a good player on this defense. I expected a little bit more from him in 2024, but that doesn't mean he can't get better, and I think he will get better, year two into a new defense. They switched schemes with Jeff Hafley from a 3-4 to a 4-3. It was a completely different defense, and even saying all of that, I thought Quay Walker did pretty well this year, and that was also through some injuries. Now, if you take a look at his PFF profile, PFF didn't like Quay Walker too much, but take that with a grain of salt. I know I use PFF a lot on this channel, but I use it for just added context, more stats, right? And I like to look at their advanced metrics and their advanced stats more than I really do their overall grades. But of course, I'm guilty of looking at grades and seeing those and kind of forming some opinions around them as well. I think we all have been in the past or can be. Quay Walker had a 57.5 grade, pass rush grade 65.5, run defense 67.9, coverage 48.8. Where he did struggle early in the year definitely was coverage. So I do agree with PFF on that he did struggle in coverage early in the year, but run defense got a lot better as the year went on. Tackling got a lot better as the year went on. And he was actually 24th in the NFL in terms of solo tackles with 80. And this was in 14 games, and he still led the Packers by a far margin in total tackles. He also had 20 assists. He had 31 stops, which he was second behind Edgerrin Cooper. Furthermore, to showing that Edgerrin Cooper is a star on this defense and is going to be insane. And both of these guys together, I can't wait for a full season of that with both these guys starting. Sacks, he had 3 sacks. He only had 9 missed tackles on 80 solo tackles, so really low percentage there. Passer rating allowed 96.6, not god awful, but not great. 14 total pressures, and again, he played in 747 snaps, missed a few games there with injury. Now, as for Devonte Wyatt, I think he was the most consistent defensive lineman for the Packers this last season, and he played in 15 games, so he also had, missed a few games with injury as well. But I agree, Devonte Wyatt just continues to grow and grow, and the sky's the limit for his potential for Devonte Wyatt. Still only 26 years old. I think he can thrive in year 2 of this defense. And if you look at his overall grade, he was actually the highest graded defensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers, which also says a lot about the other guys. Kenny Clark didn't have a great year. Carl Brooks had some great games, but was kind of inconsistent. Colby Wooden didn't have a great year. TJ Slayton did well against the run, but also wasn't graded well. Not that matters too much, but Devonte Wyatt, 66.5, pass rush, 71.7, run defense, pretty low here, 51.9. In terms of solo tackles, he had 14, which is 94th. In terms of stops, he had 16. Sacks, he had 5. He was actually second for the Green Bay Packers in sacks. 24 hurries, 3 hits, 32 total pressures, which is third for the Packers on their defense, and he played in 361 snaps. I think Devonte Wyatt should get more snaps, and I think this guy just needs to be on the defense more, and he'll continue to grow. So like I said earlier, I think Devonte Wyatt's 5th-year option is one that could be accepted. I don't see them accepting Quay Walker's, though. But that doesn't mean they don't want both players on the roster. If you look at average per year for linebackers, if Quay Walker did get the 5th-year option at $16 million, that would put him at number 4 in the entire NFL average per year, right below Roquan Smith, Fred Warner, Tremaine Edmonds. And outside of Tremaine Edmonds, Quay Walker is not on Fred Warner's level at this point, or above someone like Matt Milano, Patrick Queen, some of these other players. So I think the Packers will go the route similarly to what they did with Jordan Love with Quay Walker. What I mean by that, I'll bring up his contract here. Jordan Love had his rookie deal, the 4-year deal in 2020 when he was drafted in that first round, and had the 5th-year option declined right before 2023. And they gave him a 1-year extension at $13.5 million. Now, I believe the 5th-year option for a quarterback at the time was just around $20 million. So the Packers saved a decent amount of money simply just giving him a 1-year extension with some incentives based on playtime, based on, what he does in that season. And it worked out for Jordan Love. He had a 1-year deal in 2023, still got paid a decent amount of money, and cashed in after a really good season for 4 years, $220 million. So the Packers can bring this to Quay Walker, bring this to his agent and go, hey, we're going to give you a 1-year extension in 2026 with incentive-based, playtime-based. If you hit all those marks and have a good season, then we'll give you another 3-year, 4-year extension, and then you'll be making top linebacker money. It allows the Packers to kind of assess the situation in 2026 rather than giving him that fully guaranteed $16 million contract. But as for Devonte Wyatt, like I stated, I think the $13 million is, comparable to other defensive tackles around his skill set, his level, where I see him, rising to in 2025 and 2026. So I feel like they'll accept Devonte Wyatt's 5th-year option, decline Quay Walker's, and then give Quay Walker a 1-year extension after the season or during this next season. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you think they should decline both? Maybe give both the 1-year deals like I was just stating? Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I really appreciate you guys coming by to the channel. If you don't mind, please leave a like down below and go click the subscribe button if you haven't already, if you're still deciding to or thinking about it, to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers this offseason. Again, appreciate you guys coming by. I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.